But there is a growing belief on the part of many that there is oil in Israel. Two major oil companies have been formed to explore the oblique references to oil in the Bible. And those references are found in a place we shall look at in a few moments. But they might be the answer to a question one would have if he read Ezekiel's prophecies in Ezekiel 36:11, where Ezekiel said to the nation of Israel, I will multiply upon you man and beast. They shall increase and bear young. I will make you inhabited as in former times and do better for you than at your beginnings. Then you shall know that I am the Lord. And the question that has been raised by many is, how could Israel ever be more prosperous than she was during the days of King Solomon? Solomon was the wealthiest man in all of the world. Yet God is telling Ezekiel to tell the Jews that they will be wealthier still in the future. In his book, The Coming Peace in the Middle East, Dr. LaHaye suggests one way that this wealth could be explained. He writes, suppose that a pool of oil greater than anything in Arabia were discovered by the Jews. This would change the course of history. Before long, Israel would be able independently to solve its economic woes, finance the resettlement of the Palestinians, and supply housing for Jews and Arabs in the West Bank, East Bank, or anywhere else they might choose to live. Is Israel sitting on an enormous oil reserve mapped out in the Old Testament? John Brown, an evangelical Christian and the founder and chairman of Zion Oil and Gas, says that the Bible spells out where the oil is. It's very specific, he said. Now we're here to find it, and I know that when we do, Israel will have enough oil not to worry about all the implications of the Arab states. Brown, pointing to the Bible, refers to several biblical passages he is certain indicate where to find oil. He stressed that two passages detailing God's blessing to each of the sons of Jacob are very specific. Now, I don't know if these are giving us the secret code to the treasure of oil in Israel, but I found it fascinating enough just to share it with you. Here's what Deuteronomy 33:24 says. Let Asher be blessed, and let him dip his foot in oil. And Genesis 49 says, Joseph is a fruitful bough by a well, blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that couches beneath shall be on the head of Joseph and on the crown of his head. Now, if you remember your history, you know that the 12 tribes of Israel were each given a section of Israel as an inheritance. Brown explains, if you map the tribe's biblical territory, it shows that Asher's area resembles a giant foot dipped into the top or the crown area of the land of Joseph's son, Manasseh. There you'll see a close-up of it, and you see the foot is dipped into the top of Manasseh's territory, which is Joseph. And John Brown says, the oil is there, where Joseph's head is met by Asher's foot. Did he really believe it? He surely did. In fact, several $1 million of Jewish investors has been leveraged toward discovering oil in that particular part of Israel. In 2003, Brown's company, Zion Oil and Gas, was granted an extended license that includes 95,000 acres of the area where we've just mentioned. And the thing that you're looking at right now on the screen are all the places in that area where they are drilling for oil. Brown said, you've got these Arab states that threaten boycotts and throw their weight around to join with Russia against Israel, get countries to pressure Israel. Imagine if Israel became a huge oil producer. There will be no more placating anyone, since they will have all the oil. I wish I could tell you today that this week, before I got up here to preach, there was a massive oil discovery in Israel. But I can't do that. But what I can tell you is this is no preacher just dreaming up stuff for his message. Here are some of the headlines that have been on the front pages of newspapers all throughout that area. We're going to go through them. Here's one from April 1st, 2004. Natural gas oil found in the Dead Sea. In Israel, OilQuest is based on faith, Wall Street Journal. His mission, seek and ye shall find oil, USA Today. A vision of oil in the Holy Land, Newsweek, June 13th. Moses' oily blessing, will Israel find oil? These are just a few searching for oil in Israel. So how does the oil situation affect our future? First of all, as you look out across the landscape of where we are and where we're headed, you see the emergence of prophetic alliances. Ezekiel the prophet prophesied a time in the future when Russia would attack Israel. In describing how the military aggression would take place, the prophet described a coalition of nations that would join with Russia against Israel. And Ezekiel provides a list of those nations. And in Ezekiel 38:5, we have the beginning of that list. Persia, Ethiopia, Libya are with them. Now, we'll spend a lot more time studying this passage in the future messages. But please note this. Until March 21st, 1935, Persia was the official name of the country we now call Iran. Get this. Not one time in the last 2,500 years has Russia had a military alliance with Persia or Iran. In fact, if I've studied history correctly, they not only weren't in alliance, they didn't like each other at all. Today, Russia and Iran have formed a military alliance that continues to be strengthened by the political situation in our world. Russia recently signed a $1 billion deal to sell missiles and other weaponry to Iran. Over 1,000 Iranian nuclear scientists have been trained in Russia by senior Russian scientists. Here is an end-time alliance that was prophesied 2,500 years ago, and in the last few years, it has become a reality in your life and in mine. The stage is being set. Then there is the emergence of petroleum alliances. The issue of oil becomes more and more critical with each passing year for Western democracies in general and especially for Israel. What we are seeing today is a confluence of several negative factors, a huge percentage of the world's oil reserves in the possession of powers that are not friendly to the West and not friendly to Israel. In a New York Times article of April, there was this headline: Iranian urges Muslims to use oil as a weapon. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is quoted as saying, "The oil belongs to the people and can be used as a weapon against the West and those who support the savage regime of Israel. If Islamic and Arab countries for only 1 month suspend the export of oil to Israel and its supporter, the world would be shaken." So you see, this oil has become power. It is the new commodity of the world. It is truly black gold. And in the hands of the wrong people, without the intervention of Almighty God, it can create the chaos that we all fear.